Hello class, this is James Saunders, your instructor, coming to you from beautiful Sparta, Tennessee. It's hard to believe we're at the midway point of this course, and yet here we are, about to start Workshop 3. Now this week in particular, in addition to your regular assignments and readings, you will have the opportunity to submit your first practical exercise, the individual group proposal. We can talk more about that in a minute. First, let's think about your primary text. This week you're going to take a look at chapters 8 and 9, which talk about selection criteria and group composition. In the helping profession, we want to offer assistance to those who come to us with needs. We want to alleviate pain. We want to help people heal. And this is good. But when it comes to whether or not to include somebody in a group environment, you have to be very careful with your selection criteria. There are some people who just do not fit well in a group environment, and a responsible therapist is going to take a look and not just haphazardly place people in a group. Also, when it comes to group composition, there are some issues related to diversity. If it's a heterogeneous group, if it's a group with multicultural representation, you as a therapist, there are some concerns you have to look at so that the group processes flows as smoothly as possible. So, in a nutshell again, chapters 8 and 9 talk about these issues. How do you determine who is a good fit for group, and then how do you carry out your role as a responsible therapist to attend to the diversity needs of that particular group that you have pulled together. Now, also this week, as you've had in the previous 2 weeks, you're going to have a group in action assignment. Let me just say here, I'm very pleased with the interaction I've seen in your submissions. I know some of you had technical difficulties as far as submitting the actual PDF files. Hopefully you've gotten that worked through, you've talked to your classmates, or you've contacted technical support. But as far as the assignments itself goes, I'm very pleased with the interaction I see. Most of you are taking the time, I can tell, to interact from both the facilitator role and also putting on the hat of a participant at times. And it's encouraging to me to see that you are engaging that material. Hopefully it is broadening your mind and your understanding about group processes and what it takes to be in that lead role as you maneuver through and help people to identify and deal with their issues. So very good there. And of course you're going to have one of those assignments due as well. Now going back to the individual practical exercise, the individual group proposal. This week you'll be reading chapter 1 out of Group Treatment for Substance Abuse. This is somewhat of an overview chapter. It just hits the highlights about how people change and how the trans-theoretical model can apply to group settings. So make sure you read through chapter 1 in preparation for first your discussion board posts and then in preparation for your individual group proposal. Again, I'm very pleased with the interaction that I see when I look at the discussion forums and I watch your group interaction as well for your Workshop 5 assignment. I would caution you, please, in your writing, please pay attention to being APA compliant. That is a requirement of scholarly writing. It's a requirement of the university that you engage your mind and that you challenge yourself to be a good writer, a good communicator in that regard. So this particular assignment coming up, the individual group proposal, it specifies that you need to be very careful in using APA 6th edition. So I will be looking at that as well because this is a paper to be submitted. So it needs to be in paragraph form. It needs to have a title page. It needs to, if you cite any, if you have any references, you have to properly cite them, and please include a reference page with your sources properly cited. Again, we're at the midway point. There is a lot of material. I noted that at the very beginning, and I've seen some of your comments to that effect. There is a lot of material. You're doing very well. Many times in life, we feel like we're drinking from a fire hose with so much information. But then with time, we're able to recall that or see how it applies in the real world setting. So I just want to encourage you, Always put family first, prioritize. But when it comes to this week, dive into the material. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, please feel free to email me. I am looking forward to seeing your individual group proposals. Please don't just skim through the reading. Take it to heart. Grapple with it in your discussions to one another. Please ask questions that enlarge the conversation. And please cite your sources. I appreciate y'all so much. Look forward to what this week has to offer. God bless. Take care.